Do you recognize this iconic movie scene?
Mi casa.
Mi casa, mi teléfono. And this scene is also very relevant for today's lesson. Hola, soy Alejandro. Bienvenidos a His Spanish. And let's continue with this course for beginners. We are in Unit 2 now. The focus of this unit is to be able to describe people. In particular, at the end of the unit, you'll be asked to describe your best friend and his or her appearance and personality. Alongside this unit, we have learned also how to describe relationships and family members. And now it's time for mi casa, mi teléfono, to talk about possessives, right? This grammar concept that is important when describing your family. You say es mi hermano, es tu primo, su abuelo, and you need to use these grammar concepts. Remember that throughout this course, our philosophy is to introduce grammar points and vocabulary as far as they are useful to perform a certain communication activity, not just as concepts for themselves. So, with that in mind, let's get started. Do you remember where Sergio and John are going for the weekend? We covered that in our previous lesson, in particular the lesson on couchsurfing. We said that they are going to El Teatro Romano de Mérida, this iconic monument. And for that, Sergio is now having a conversation. He is texting with his wife, and he's explaining a couple of things. Let's read the conversation, and as we have done before in the course reading, I'm going to read at my own pace at a normal, natural rhythm, and you can read along with me, shadow me to practice the pronunciation and the sounds of the language first, and then pause the video and read at your own pace to look in the vocabulary in more detail. So let's get started. Este fin de semana voy al Teatro Romano de Mérida con mi alumno, John. Fantástico. Yo me quedo en Cáceres. El sábado voy al cine con mi hermano y su novia. Qué bien. Su novia es muy agradable. ¿Y también vienen tus sobrinos? No. Federico y Tony se quedan con sus abuelos. ¿Y tu hermano te acompaña a Mérida? No. Tiene trabajo y no puede venir. Pero quizá invito a mis compañeros de trabajo. Okay, so now I'm going to break down this conversation and translate parts of it. You can, again, pause and read by yourself, or just we can get started. So, este fin de semana voy al Teatro Romano con mi alumno. So, this weekend, I'm going to the Roman Theater in Mérida with my alumno. Alumno is student, John. Remember John, the English guy that is a product manager, gerente de producto. Okay, fantástico, fantastic. I'm staying in Cáceres. Me quedo en Cáceres. I stay in Cáceres. On Saturday, I'm going to the movies with my brother and her and his girlfriend. Qué bien. That's great. Her girlfriend is very nice. Agradable. Remember, we have learned vocabulary about personality before. Agradable, simpática. And do her niece and nephew come too? No. Federico y Tony se quedan con sus abuelos. No, Federico and Tony are staying with their grandparents. And does your brother go with you to Mérida? No, he has to work and he cannot come. But I might invite my co-workers. So, well, maybe a few of pieces of vocabulary that are new to you. Now let's use this conversation as context to break down the grammar. We have done this in this course before with what we call the grammar inductive or inductive grammar approach. So I want you to look at the conversation and tell me if you can pinpoint the first personal singular, so the yo, for the possessive. So what's the possessive form for yo in this text? For the singular and plural. Pause if you need to and check the conversation. It would be mi and mis. Mi alumno, mis hermanos. Okay? Or mis compañeros de trabajo. What about the second person? Singular, tú. For tú, the singular would be tu hermano y tus sobrinos. And the third person singular, you can pause the video if you need to slow down and go down your own pace and think about it more. What is the possessive for the third person singular? Él, ella, usted. Would be su novia, as you can see in the conversation. Voy al cine con mi hermano y su novia. O sus abuelos. Sus abuelos. Okay, so now let's take a look at the possessives, all of them. For the first person, me and mis, my. Second person, tú and tus, yours. And third person, su and sus. Mi, tú, su, mis, tus, sus. You can see that in Spanish, the possessive agrees with the thing being possessed in number. That is, if the thing is singular, then it's me, or tú, or su. The thing being possessed is plural, is mis, tus, sus. The thing being possessed, not the person possessing. So in the sentence says mi madre, it's not about me being singular, yo, me. And if it's nuestra madre, our mother, then the possessive is plural. No. Just the thing being possessed is the important part here. So mi madre, mis padres. You need to be careful with that. And a second thing to pay attention to as English speakers is this construction that you have in English, my friend's house, for la casa de mi amiga. We cannot say mi amiga's casa. I hear that a lot from my students. Mi amiga's casa as a literal translation. We only say in Spanish, the house of my friend, la casa de mi amiga, right? So be careful translating from English when talking about possessives. Now we have covered the theory of these possessive constructions in Spanish. If you are enjoying the video so far, please give it a like, dale a me gusta, es gratis, it's free, and it really helps, right? So let's now move on to a practice activity. We have this couple, la pareja, you know this word from previous lessons, la pareja, el novio, la novia, marido, la mujer, we don't know. And they are having an argument. Things are not going well, and they are going to go in separate directions in life. They are going to separarse. And therefore, they need to decide who owns what, right? Who gets to keep certain things in their house. And that's what we're going to do in this activity. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to translate parts of it, because otherwise the activity will be a bit difficult. But the only thing you need to know, the only thing you need to tell me is the possessive that is needed here, okay? So I'm going to give you the first one as an example. Juan, the guy, says, te puedes llevar el ordenador, pero yo me quedo con televisión y películas en Blu-ray. So what we're saying here is, you can take the computer, you can keep the computer, but I'm keeping my TV and my Blu-ray movies. What would be the possessive in Spanish? Be mi televisión, me quedo con mi televisión y mis películas. Okay, let's continue with the activity. Muy bien, llévate televisión y películas, pero yo me quedo con ordenador. Okay, what does it mean? Can you infer without me translating the sentence this time? If not, we are saying, okay, take your TV and your movies, but I'm keeping my computer. How is that? Llévate tu televisión y tus películas, pero yo me quedo con mi ordenador. Con mi ordenador. ¿Cómo que ordenador? Es mío, es un regalo de mi hermana. What do you mean? Your computer. It's mine, it's a gift from my sister. ¿Cómo que tu ordenador? ¿Cómo que tu ordenador? And Carlota replies, no es verdad. Pues el sofá sí que es mío, me lo llevo. It's not true. The sofa, it is mine indeed. I'm taking it with me. Bueno, llévate sofá y también estanterías. Son muy feas. Okay, take your sofa and your bookshelves. They are very ugly. How is that in Spanish? What possessive are we missing? Llévate tu sofá y tus estanterías, que son muy feas. And lastly, el armario de hermana sí que es feo. No, the wardrobe from your sister, it is ugly. El armario de tu hermana sí que es feo. Were you able to perform this activity successfully? I'm sure you did. But if you need to give it another try, then you can find it in your lesson notes. Aside from the slides of the activity of the video that you can review at your own pace and the grammar rules that we are adding to the notes, you will also find this exercise that you can do it at your own pace. You can find the translation of the dialogue in case it helps, as well as the answers. Okay? So if you need to do an extra review, you can get our lesson notes for free. You will find the link in the description. And before we finish, let's take a look at two other important aspects of the possessives in Spanish. Let's take a closer look at the possessives for the third person. We said it's su novia, or sus abuelos. But can you see the issue of using this for él, ella, or usted? Well, it seems obvious that it's hard to know who are we referring to. In English, you have his or her, right? His girlfriend, her boyfriend. But in Spanish, we use su for both. So sometimes the context is not enough to know if we are talking about his or her, a male or a female. To solve that issue, we use the following structure. We use el sobrino de Edu. So, de and the name of the person, de Carlota, de Sergio, or the pronoun, de él, de ella. Okay? So you can use the object, de, and the owner to solve this ambiguity caused by the third person possessive being su or sus for both genders. And the last thing to remark about possessives is in the second person singular, tu, you can see it's very similar to tu, you. So you and your is the same word in Spanish. Tú tienes, o tu hermano se llama Carlos. Your brother is named Carlos. Yes, and do you have siblings? You see that the same word, just one distinction, which is the accent. When it's the subject pronoun, that is the you, then you put an accent to it, an accent mark. And when it's the possessive, your, tu, there is no accent. Okay? And that's it about the possessives. I hope this lesson was useful. Remember to focus on the agreement of number between the thing being possessed and the possessives. Me, mis, tu, tus, su, sus. Resolve the ambiguity of the third person with de name or de él, de ella. And tu with an accent mark is you, the subject pronoun. Without it is the possessive. Well, thank you for your attention with one more of these lessons for beginners. If you want to see the full playlist, make sure to check the links in the description. And if you don't want to miss out the next lesson of this unit, subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell. Soy Alejandro de Key Spanish y nos vemos en clase.